you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Andrew Patterson here, host of the Academy podcast, Just Don't Do It. I'm excited to bring you guests who are experts in their respective areas. They're going to go through the things that they stopped doing in order to increase their business. So sit back, relax, and stop doing.
Hey guys, how we doing? I got with me John Moljo. Did I say your last name right?
Yes, you did.
All right, perfect. So I actually met him through Casey Lee. Incredible guy. The first time I actually met him in person is he put on an event at his facility, which I'm sure he's going to talk about today because he's got one coming up. But for him, he's been a huge influence in my life, mainly because just of his knowledge, especially being on the younger side and being able to be successful where he's at right now. The other thing is I wear my hats backwards more because of him. So I want to just shoot the floor over to John for him just to talk about kind of where he's been, where he's at now, and then we'll get started.
Cool.
So go ahead, my man.
Man, Andrew, appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to dive into some good conversation with you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Moljo. I am the owner at Team Moljo Strength and Conditioning, a 5,000 square foot facility located in Shrub Oak, New York. It's Westchester County. We're an appointment-based facility. We offer private training, small group training, and group classes. We mainly service adult general population and student athletes grades 5 and up. So we're kind of like a hybrid go-to place for families who have kids who are interested in fitness and parents who like fitness. It's kind of like a one-stop shop, trying to get the parent and kids all involved in, doing healthy stuff, engaging in exercise, and, being a part of a fun, empowering culture. In addition to Team Moljo being my primary focus, I am the co-owner and founder of the Leadership Accountability Business Fitness Consultants, along with my partner, Neil Snyder. We started that at the end of 2016. Pretty much our focus is to empower fitness professionals to achieve ultimate success, whatever that means for them, but mainly, in the areas of leadership, accountability, and business. We understand that, the fitness industry is becoming incredibly competitive. There's a significant amount of saturation everywhere you look. It's appealing for most people to want to pursue a career. So we kind of want to, provide people with the intangible skills and tangible skills to kind of stand out and build a sustainable career. And get people out of the mindset that, your certification isn't the only thing you need to be successful. And, your kinesiology, anatomy, and physiology knowledge base is only going to get you so far. Yes, it's important, but there's a lot of other variables that you need to consider if you want to be in this industry for the long haul and provide a quality living for not only yourself, but your family as well.
Awesome. Yeah, if you and the one thing I will say, if you only know New York about New York City, if you go travel to his place, you will see another beautiful side of New York that he'll attest to that I literally talked about all day because I was blown away. But, one thing that you guys are going to see, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it, and I'm actually going to have one big question at the end for him, but his culture is just radiant. And that's what I would say is a pivotal point of his success too. It's just how he's able to generate a culture that is just contagious, I would say. I mean, even if you go and check out his event, you'll see the same thing. They show it from beginning to end. But so what I want to do is get into some things that he stopped doing. And what we do is typically, John, you'll give us 2 things, about business that you stopped doing, and then we'll do one thing about family, what you stopped doing in order to enjoy more time with family, loved ones, and things like that. Right. So let's go over the first 2 things. You can start with the first thing that you stopped doing that you felt kind of helped you clear out your mind and really start getting towards the success that you're at now. So what's the first thing that you want to talk about that you stopped doing?
So it's kind of like a mindset thing. I stopped thinking that goals were an endpoint, but also stopped thinking that bad situations were an endpoint as well. For anyone who's in business, or pretty much anyone who, lives life and deals with people, you'll understand that there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. There's going to be great days, awesome days, and there's going to be days that you kind of reevaluate whether or not you're doing the right things and have made the right decisions to kind of move on with your life. And one thing I stopped doing was harboring bad days as if they were the finish line. In business, there's going to be days that something may go wrong in the facility, something may go wrong with a client, something may go wrong with a staff member, a crazy expense might surface that you did not expect to come up, right? Can I curse on this podcast, or
go for it, bro.
But shit's gonna hit the fan, and if you're not used to dealing with adversity, if you're not used to dealing with situations that are going to cause discomfort, people get stuck and think that that's the finish line, and wow, this is what the rest of my life is going to be like. So I really stopped looking at those situations as defining moments for the rest of my life, and realized that let me do like an inventory check. I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still breathing. Everyone I care about, thank God, is still breathing. My facility didn't burn down. There's still money kind of in the bank account, right? So there's a lot of good things still going on. So I'm not going to let this negative situation kind of harbor and dictate and define, what the rest of my life is going to look like. So 99% of the time when I enter a situation that forces some discomfort or causes some trouble or makes me kind of feel a little bit frustrated, I've gotten really good at taking a step back and realizing, well, this is going to pass, and there's another great thing coming up. I don't know when it's going to be, but I know it's coming up. So I really stopped chasing, an end product. I stopped chasing a goal and really continue to just focus on, behaviors, right? Focus on continuing to do the right things and buying into the fact that if you continue to do the right things, good things are going to happen. But expect the unexpected and roll with the punches.
Yeah, I mean, and so and I think that's huge, especially with a society filled with anxiety, and then the anxiety is what it's like. I know one thing a study was saying is we have this flight or fight mentality, but then the fight isn't just, okay, we're fighting the situation. All of a sudden we have these levels come up to where it feels like we're fighting a lion. It's like life or death when it's really not. Go ahead.
And sorry to cut you off, but
no.
In addition to a society where you kind of see anxiety continuing to increase, instant gratification, is pretty much the norm these days, and how people seek gratification is different, but you can pretty much turn to several outlets to fulfill a happy necessity, to fulfill a dopamine hit to the body. So if you are dealing with a bad situation, there's plenty of things you can kind of surface to give you a quick boost of enjoyment and happiness. So I think dealing with, complications, dealing with negative situations, dealing with negative people, people are really, really disconnected with how to deal with it because of the fact that they can easily find happiness somewhere else.
So I'm sure people are like, well, were you able just to change your mindset overnight? Or, one thing that I would ask you that I think people probably are going to be asking is, was it little habits over time that got you to the point of being able to deal with the big issues?
Right. Definitely little habits over time, as with anything in life. If you're able to handle small situations, you're able to get past it, you really start to convince yourself and teach yourself that you are fully capable of moving beyond certain situations, moving beyond certain things. And it's not going to happen overnight. But if you look back and reflect on situations that maybe cause you discomfort, situations that were a challenge to deal with, and you realize that you got past it, look at it as, wow, I'm building my adversity overcoming muscle, right? So whatever that might be, it's probably mostly mental for everyone, but, be grateful for the fact that you get to handle tough situations, because there's going to be significantly tougher situations that surface in your life. And if you get to a situation like that with no practice, it's going to be a lot more challenging to deal with. So, my mindset now is, I don't by any means ask for bad things to happen to me, but they're going to happen. And when they do, it's like, wow, I'm so excited I get to work on my adversity overcoming muscle right now, because this is going to prepare me for what I know is going to be in the future, because I have ambitious goals. I have big visions for myself. And you learn in business that the bigger your business gets, the bigger your goals get, the bigger your problems get. So the better your problem-solving skills have to get. So every opportunity I get to solve a problem, deal with something negative, overcome a challenge, I use it as kind of motivation to prepare myself for what I know is coming in the future.
Guys, definitely. I mean, look at that mindset. I mean, that literally what he said is he changed his perspective around right away. It wasn't just a matter of, holy crap, this is the finish line, I'm done. He changed the mindset to now it's like, you know what? I'm kind of glad bad stuff's happening, because A, it's telling me I'm growing. B, I get to learn from this to grow even more. And so it's like you turn that negative into a positive, and I can tell you guys firsthand just the way, just his chilled out type of attitude. I mean, that's appears the way how he does business. And so that's, I think, a gold nugget that everybody should take. And I think is you probably have so much more clarity in your mind now when you're trying to game plan.
Right. And look, if you talk to 99.9% of successful people, I bet majority of them would say you have to be uncomfortable. You have to get out of your comfort zone. So anytime you're dealing with adversity, it's uncomfortable. So it's kind of a reality check that you're doing the right things. Like, all right, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, which is why I have to deal with this. If you wake up every single day and you're kind of going through the motions, if you got like a safety net and you're not really worried about anything, then I think it's time for you to kind of push yourself a little bit. And I'm not telling you to completely go off the deep end and take incredible risks and be shivering in discomfort. That's not what I'm encouraging at all. You want to take calculated risk and think about the next step you're going to take. But, if for the last 30 days or 60 days, things have been pretty comfortable for you, and you've got big goals and you want to move forward in life and you want to be a good role model and you want to set an example for the people around you, then you got to shake things up. And, however you do that is going to be up to you, but you constantly have to be assessing in your life, all right, are things like really, really easy right now? Have I kind of like settled and have gotten the swing of things of where I'm at currently? And can I handle the capacity to take on a little bit more? And on the absolute flip side, I see that there's a lot of people that kind of put too much on their plate, right? So then you're juggling too many balls and you're kind of not giving attention to everything that you should be giving attention to, and the important things in your life start to slip. So it's really trying to find balance and defining what's important to you, where you're going to give your attention, and really trying to stick to that.
Man, that awesome first point. Awesome first point. All right, so let's roll right into the second point. What was the second thing that you stopped doing that contributed to your success?
In business?
In business.
I've done a lot, and I really want to try and give you like the biggest bang for the buck.
That's what we want, man. We want big bangs.
Yes, I know. I guess, I really stopped, and it kind of goes in line with, what I just previously said about changing your mindset and really stop thinking that everything was an endpoint in the finish line and how it was going to define the rest of your life. But I really stopped, focusing on several goals that I had and really narrowed down, focusing on the business that I have and making it the best business possible. I have a lot of mentors and a lot of influencers in my life, and, they're constantly like, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. So I stopped listening to a lot of people who I admired, and it wasn't intended to be disrespectful, but it was to protect myself from, biting off more than I can chew. And I had a lot of, I do, and I have a lot of positive people in my life, and they're very encouraging, and they give you advice, and it's great to take advice from people. But, when you're surrounded by a lot of successful people, you get almost too much advice, and it really paralyzes you, and it sometimes can make you feel insecure about where you are, insecure about the decisions that you're making. It takes away the clarity on what you want to do going forward. And it could be very impactful on dictating, where and what you're going to do in your future. And if you spend enough time with certain people, it will have significant influence. And that influence could be good, it could be bad. But if it's not necessarily in alignment with what you feel right and what you want to do, then I encourage people to take everything with a grain of salt. People are always going to offer knowledge. People are always going to offer expertise. People are always going to kind of self-proclaim themselves as an expert in your life by giving you advice, but they're not. Like, you're the expert of your life. And if you see yourself listening to too much, reading too much, taking in too much, you're not going to be able to make any decisions because there's going to be way too many options, right? And if you do decide to do something, right, how can you give 100% to that one thing you're going to do when you know deep down there's like 1,000 other things that people are suggesting that you can do? And I think it's almost like a generational thing, right? A lot of people are neglecting the fact that it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a whole lot to be successful. And part of that process is boring at times, right? You have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again for years and years and years. And if everything else in your life is, like if you go on social media, everyone's telling you how awesome it is to do X, how awesome it is to do Y, how easy it is to do Z. How confident are you going to be continuing to do what you're doing when you have all of this other appetizing stuff going on around you? So I really had to stop listening to other people. I had to stop looking at social media, because on social media, everyone posts the good shit. Everyone just posts like how awesome things are in their life. And like my rule of thumb, and some people will disagree, if someone's constantly on social media posting how awesome things in their life probably sucks. Like, if you constantly have to, put out there like, oh, everything is great, everything is great, everything is great, and you never see the, damn, this sucks. Like, there's no way your life is that much positivity. There's no way it's you just, sunshine and roses. Like, that's not what life is. And if you constantly listen to people who are like pushing that in your face and like shoving it down your throat, you tend to lose sight with reality. And when you want to really build a sustainable, long-term, healthy business, like, it's going to be boring. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be challenging. You're going to do shit that you don't want to do. And like, that's life. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? You got to learn how to deal with the lows because it makes the highs that much better. But if your life is always positive, it's always great, then where do you really, really find enjoyment, right? Humans are humans because they're emotional. You enjoy things, you get frustrated by things, but if you love everything, then I can't even define it. I just, that's like a challenge to me. Like, seeing people constantly talk about how awesome and how positive it is and never really letting you know, like, well, when did it suck? Like, no one sits and asks you, like, when was your life really, really bad? Like, tell me about a time that like things didn't go well. How long did that last for? Why was it so miserable? How did it make you feel? You need to talk a little bit more like that, because when people get into that situation, they're going to know that, wow, this stuff really does happen. And I've listened and heard someone kind of talk about it and offer me some mentorship on how to deal with it.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I think that nugget right there is going to clear up just mind space and everything like that. And it's just like, that's what happens when we're on this adventure of growth. You are constantly, it's like when you find a mentor, don't ask the questions of where they're at right now. Because the thing is, that mentor has probably been in it 10, 12, 15 years. And that's what they're going to talk about. But like, I love what you're saying. It's like, if you are going to learn, why don't you try to learn applicable knowledge, you know,
Right.
and I'll be transparent. When I got started, all I did was learn. Did I apply any of it? No. Did it advance me? No. It came to a point to where it's like, all right, how about I learn this thing? And that's not to say that you have to stop reading, but when you take something from a book, why don't you start applying like that one piece of knowledge that hits you right in the teeth, you know, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, and you try to do that. But I'm 100% with you. You get all this information from all these different people, and it's paralysis by analysis. You know, you
Yeah.
sit there and you're like, well, what is the thing I can do right now to impact the entire world when that's not even feasible? You know,
Right.
and people sit there and they're like, I'm doing these little things. There's no way it's that easy. And the thing is, sometimes it is. It's the easy stuff, like you said, over time that you're going to see create this big stuff. We
And
see
that's
in social media.
and that's the big factor too, is
Yeah.
time. You know? And I feel like I'm at like such a sweet spot in my life. You know, I'm gonna age myself, but you know, I'm 30 years old, and I'll be honest, like turning 30 was initially, it was kind of like, wow, like I'm getting older. And you know, I surround myself with a lot of older successful people, and they're constantly like, oh, you're so young, you're so young, you're so young. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel, you know, I don't feel young at all. But I think at my age now, with what I've done up until this point, being, you know, in my 5th year of business, I now understand the importance of letting time take its toll for good things to happen, but to also move past bad things. And I still, you know, coach a lot of young athletes, and young athletes, you know, they want to get strong right now. Like if they need to be able to bench 225 and you know they're only benching 85, they think they're like going to be able to come in after like 2 lifts and bench 225, right? And it's really hard to coach that athlete on the importance of letting time and other factors take its toll. So now when I listen to mentorship, um, I'm able to kind of say, all right, these are all the things that they have, and they have these things because of the things that they did, but also the things that they did for this amount of time. And that's a huge thing, because like time is the biggest commodity in the world. You're not going to get any more of it. You can't buy it, right? So you got to really be smart with what you're doing with your time, but also you have to be respectful of allowing time to create the good things in life, and also allowing time to move past the bad things.
Yeah. And I would say, and on top of that, celebrate the small wins. We're
Right.
always consumed with, I loved what you said earlier when you're like, you know, we always want instant gratification. It's like, you get it, but it's not because, you know, we look at this big goal. We're like, hey, I want to reach $1 million. But then people forget to celebrate when I reached $100,000,
Right.
you know? And it's like,
I was just having this conversation the other day. It was like, you know, I was like, oh, like, you know, I wanted to open a gym. You know, like 4 years ago, I opened a gym. All right, now what? I want to run a successful gym. All right, after a couple of years, the gym was successful. I wanted a bigger gym. All right, I relocated the gym. I have a bigger gym. I wanted to start a consulting company. I started a consulting company. I wanted to get my master's degree. I'm currently getting my master's degree. Like, there's always going to be something you could be
yeah,
pushing. There's always going to, like, there's always something. And like I said, I stopped really focusing on goals as end products, right? Because there's always going to be a new goal to get. Like, once I get my master's, what's next? You know, I have my bigger gym. What's next? Do I have a second gym? Do I expand this gym? Do I open another business? Like, do I buy real estate? Like, there's always something that you can go get, which is great. But at the same time, and you know, and I'm a hungry person. I'm always going to be chasing something, and I will be the first to admit that I don't always reflect back on everything that I've done, and I don't always know how grateful I am for the things that I have. But like I said, at 30, I'm really learning to do that more often and be better with that, and it's huge. Like, you're gonna constantly chase things in life, and you should be, right? And you're gonna be frustrated when you don't get things, and you should be. And the fact that you get frustrated when you don't get things is going to be the number one reason why you're successful. But a lot of people think that's the number one reason why they're failures, because they get mad. Wait, what happened? No, get fired up that you don't get something, but also continue to go get it. And the fact that you're getting upset that you don't have it shows that you give a shit about the statement and legacy you're going to leave on this world.
Exactly. And some people, it's okay to always be hungry. You know, don't think that it's something that you know, maybe you're ungrateful. You know, you can be grateful. Like you say, he may not show gratefulness for everything, but you see it, you reflect on it, and it's like, you know what? This little success almost gets you hungrier. You know, it gets you to a point. It's like, you know what? I can do more. I can impact more people. So keep pressing the envelope, you know? All right. So guys, great points there. I want you guys to definitely go back. And speaking of our second point, why don't you guys look at the first point and meditate on that? You know, don't even go to second point yet. The video is going to be here forever. And so go to that first point, see the best ways that you can infiltrate that, put that into your life. Once you've begin to, I would say, somewhat master it, then start looking at the second point. It's a great way for self-growth. So now let's go into our third point. The third point, I love to ask business professionals, because we can't forget about our family. If we forget about our family, when we start our journey, you don't want to go into a journey alone. And so let's go to your third point of some of the things that maybe you stopped doing or you delegated in order to be intentional and spend a little bit more time with your family and loved ones.
So one of my biggest priorities when I opened Team Moljo was to get the business as non-dependent on me as possible, as quickly as possible. And, you know, you can ask any business owner, that's a challenge, right? My first year in business, I was teaching all the classes, training all the clients, training all the staff, you know, picking the systems for the business, doing everything for the most part. And, you know, I had great help, but I was developing them into people who are still with me today, who are going to be very influential on the business, but also give me the freedom to step away and enjoy the rest of my life with family, with friends. You know, so part of that was just surrounding myself with good people and making them aware of, hey, this is what my goal is. I want you to grow. I want you to be successful, but I want you to understand that, you know, you're going to have some responsibilities that are going to give me the freedom to step away, be confident that the business is going to be okay, and allow me some time with, you know, the people that I care about. So, you know, that took a whole lot. There wasn't necessarily one thing that I stopped doing that allowed that. It was understanding that when you're in business, you need to create a business that serves your life. And too many people serve their business, right? So if you got injured today, can your business not only survive, but thrive without you tomorrow? And if it can't, you don't own a business, right? You own a job, right? You have to show up there every single day for you to have a living, for you to have an income, for the business to continue to breathe. But, you know, my background is in business. It's not in fitness. And I understood that I need to create something completely separate from me, not only for the sake of myself, but also for the sake of my staff and employees, right? Because if the business is so dependent on me, and God forbid something happens to me, what does that do for their income? What does that do for their career? What does that do for them and their families, right? So you need to create a business that's not reliant on one person, but it's reliant on a team of people. And you need to create a business that, God forbid something happens to you, it's going to take care of you and those you care about. You need to create a business that is going to allow you to go do the things that you enjoy, taking vacations, going to seminars, going to workshops. And lastly, you need to build a business that's going to serve your clients, right? Because we all have clients we've had for a year, 2 years, 3 years. Some people have had clients for 10 years, right? And your clients just can't be bought into you. They have to be bought into you, and they have to be bought into the embodiment of your business. And God forbid something happens to you, what is what does that say for that client and the dependency they have on your business? If it's the place that they go to for health and fitness and something happens to you and it's no longer existent, you're doing them a disservice. If it's the place that they go to as their stress outlet, if it's their happy place, you need to build a business that, you know, will continue to survive the time of you know, the battle of just external things that can be impactful or detrimental to your business. And again, that's making a business dependent on systems, dependent on a team of people, and not relying on any person at all.
That's awesome. You know what I would almost say, that that what you stopped doing is thinking that you had to do everything in order to be successful.
You can't. Come on, that's common knowledge. No one's self-made.
Yep. I mean, that's awesome. And guys, that's one thing that'd be great for you to realize. I say this not in a rude way, but you're not that important. You know what I mean? It doesn't all rely on you. You've got people to help bolster you.
Everybody is replaceable. Even me. You know, that.
I don't know about that, man.
I don't say that. I don't say that to be a bad thing by any means, but you need to look at, if you're in business, look at your business. If one person was no longer there, can things continue to go as planned? Can you still, you know, continue with your business? And this isn't a knock on anyone who's involved in your business. This isn't a knock on you know, anyone's character or anyone's ability, right? But it's a compliment to the fact that you've created something that can adapt and deal with adversity, which is huge, because the business serves a lot of people. A lot of people depend on this. The community depends on this. And you can't put all of that power in the hands of one person, nor should you.
Awesome. That's incredible. All right, so what I want to do is the thing that if you ever meet John or anything like that, you'll see how explosive the culture is. So I want to do one big finisher question, and I want you to answer this super basic. And the reason I say this is because people think that culture happens overnight, and people think that just because you learn something, all of a sudden you're going to go to your place and everybody's going to love one another. I want you to tell everybody, what was the very beginning steps, the little chip away steps that you felt that you had to do in order to build a culture that would probably reflect what you thought it would be a year from when you started it? So what was just a couple fundamental foundational things that you started thinking in your mind and you started doing daily for your staff to start building your culture?
You have to be the expectation that you have in the people around you, and you have to be the expectation that you have for your business, right? You can't create a culture and tell people that you're gonna value X, Y, and Z, and then your actions completely disassociate with that, right? So you have to a certain extent, be the culture, be a walking embodiment of the culture, radiate the culture. And, you know, people should be able to look at you, watch you for 24 hours, not have a conversation with you, but based on your body language, based on your interaction with people, based on how professional you look, have all of the information they need to feel confident that you are practicing what you preach, that you are the culture you're trying to create. And, you know, it's just really being genuine and authentic. And that's what it starts with. You know, you have to be the culture you want to create. Culture is something that starts inside of you and then expands out to other people.
So hear that, guys. You could start that today, and it's not going to happen overnight. You know, get that through your mind, guys. And yeah, it is hard work, but like what John was talking about before, it's consistency. It's being the guy. It's being, you know, it's you not saying, hey, come follow me. It's people saying, hey, I want to follow you. And, you know, I know I see that with John. That's what he does. We're running a little short on time. So what I want to do is just have you describe just one impactful book that you feel like that it was applicable knowledge, something that you felt that it created a stir in you, but one book that you feel really made an impact in your life towards your success.
Wow. Can I say 2 books, please?
Man, say 2 books. Let it roll. Let it roll.
So the first book would definitely be E-Myth by Michael Gerber. That book was very influential in the terms of, you know, creating a business that is not so reliant on myself. And the second book would be Extreme Ownership. That's a it's by Jocko and
Leif Babin.
Yes, there you go. Awesome. That book was fantastic for a couple reasons. One, it helps you develop the mentality that like everything is your fault and the buck stops and starts with you. Like if you're the leader and things are not going well, you are to blame at some capacity, if not the entire capacity. And 2, it really is reassuring. It's really reassuring to understand, like, you know, your life isn't that bad. You have these people giving war stories that make you realize, wow, running a gym, this is like nothing compared to, you know, the things these guys have seen, the things these guys have done. So again, like realizing that, like, if I'm in a bad situation, it's not the end of the world. When these guys were in a bad situation, it potentially was, you know, the end of the world. So that was a great book to read and help me, you know, really gain some perspective on life.
Guys, and that, I'll attest to those books myself. I love those books. And those are 2 books that if you reread, you'll get something new dependent on the perspective of where you're at in life. And so there's things like E-Myth, I think I've read 3 times and I've picked up something new, you know, because of where I was at. But no, those are great books. John, I want to respect your time, but once again, I truly appreciate you coming on and just like shedding your knowledge, being able to help, you know, future entrepreneurs now that may be kind of in the position where they've been owning a business for 3 years and trying to get to your level. But I truly appreciate you coming on and giving everything that you got and giving your time.
Dude, loved it. Happy to be on. I look forward to the next time you and I can chat.
Thanks, bro. All right. Have a good day, man.
All right, Andrew, take care.